In 2007, the United States entered what was later named the Great Recession, a product of subprime mortgages, low interest rates, and excessive spending. The housing bubble popped, and thousands of families lost their homes. In some ways, our country is still recovering, but in other ways, it helped an entire movement of people figure out what is really important when it comes to a lifestyle and to a home. When most people think of a home, they think of something like this. Roughly around 2,600 square feet is the national average, or maybe a standard apartment. Still, with these traditional forms of living come costs, a high rent or a mortgage. But Ethan's home in Morrisville, Vermont, where he lives with his girlfriend Anne, is a different story.
I feel like I have like $1 million lifestyle that cost like less than $50,000.
And actually, the average price of one of these homes costs less than $25,000 to build. But this isn't your completely ordinary home. It is a tiny house. So how do two people live in a 232 square foot home on wheels? Well, utilizing space is key.
Little support folds away and then the table can drop down.
Ethan was drawn to the tiny house lifestyle about 2 years ago after returning from a bicycle trip on the West Coast, where he stayed in several tiny houses. But his decision to go small goes beyond that.
It was largely a financial decision, but also I had gotten really into the idea of simply living with less things, and just also connecting with the idea that when you own less things, it also costs a lot less to live.
So Ethan, a technology coach who runs his own business, built his tiny house on land that was owned by a relative.
The propane tank.
With the help of a friend and a builder in town, it would soon become his dream home.
Simple living here means that you don't spend a lot of time organizing or cleaning. It means that you're able to kind of close up the house and leave for any amount of time without feeling like you are carrying a big rent payment or mortgage payment while you're gone.
For Anne, living in the tiny house has been quite the surprise.
It's been pretty amazing, actually. I thought it was going to be like camping, where it gets old after like 15 minutes, but it's actually pretty comfortable.
Still, there are of course challenges when it comes to living in a smaller space.
We have a pretty small fridge, so you can't really grocery shop like you would in a normal sized kitchen. There's less opportunities to buy in bulk and things like that, but on the flip side, you wind up eating more fresh foods.
Though not an ordinary size, the home has most, if not all, the necessities that your home has, including an oven,
easy bake oven,
running water,
RV faucet, so it's,
a toilet,
it goes out to an outside compost
a shower, a liquor cabinet,
a tiny liquor cabinet,
and of course.
So this is the sleeping loft and closet area.
Ethan and Anne aren't alone either. The tiny house movement is by no means tiny. Inspiring a TV show,
I think we've managed to deliver the dream home.
And even a dating site. Since gaining popularity during the recession for their affordability, financial freedom, and for environmental reasons, tiny houses have been popping up everywhere, from Alaska to the East Coast, and on almost every continent in the world. The movement has grown so big that there are now even schools that teach people how to build tiny houses, even if you've so much as never picked up a hammer.
I had never built anything before I started building this. My dad said that we once built a birdhouse together, but I don't have any memory of that. So in my mind, I've never built anything before.
This is Katie Tomai. She took a class at Yestermiro Design Build School in Wattsville, Vermont, where she learned how to build her very own tiny house.
So when I went to sign up for this course, Luke, who's the admissions director, said, hey, every year in this class we start building a tiny house for somebody. We don't have that somebody yet. Do you want to be our client? And I thought, yep. So we worked together for the first 2 weeks. So we got the walls up and framed, we got the floor set, and we got most of the roof on. But we also sort of hit the stopping point where after 2 weeks it was my baby to keep building.
So Katie did. She provided the design and the materials, and her classmates helped, all while learning.
And for 2 weeks I had this amazing group of people here that were all students who were so psyched on it, helping to build this house, and then learning in classroom time how to build their own houses.
Katie says she's not quite ready to settle down, and that the tiny house is perfect for her on-the-go lifestyle.
It is portable, but mostly this is sort of a home that is indecision proof. I move a lot, and I love, there's just so many places in the world to explore that I have a hard time committing to one. Like, I would never build a ground-bound foundation cabin right now in my life. It just feels a lot, it feels like nervous making to settle somewhere right now.
But what happens if you are settled? This is Meg's tiny house atop a barn in South Stratford, Vermont. Though not completely like the typical tiny houses we've seen, Meg completely embodies what it means to live simply.
In general, I love living here. You know, I love that it really forces me to focus on what I really need, like nothing in excess.
Her situation is slightly different than most tiny house owners.
The piece about having a child makes it just more complicated.
Meg, a single mom, moved from Burlington with her 8-year-old daughter Esme to her tiny house 4 years ago. The reason? Meg wanted more financial stability so she could be there for her daughter.
And it was really important to me to keep being, you know, an active parent and really be raising my kid. Hey, Esme, can we see your room?
But sometimes being a kid in a tiny house can be hard.
Sometimes she's frustrated, you know, when she wants to have a project out, or, you know, where she can't like have her toys laying all over the place.
But overall, the tiny house lifestyle has been very special for both Meg and Esme.
It feels really special, you know. I feel like this is like her foundation, you know, living simply and living small and really recognizing what that means, like financially and environmentally and, you know, socially and everything else.
Meg also said that the tiny house will be something that both her and Esme will always remember. Still, they aren't completely ruling out ever moving into a bigger space, but for now it's near perfect, and Esme's friends also think it's pretty cool too.